Good morning, Eastern Carolina. It's Sunday, June 29th. Thanks so much for waking up with us. I'm Juliana Valencia. Atlantic Beach looks calm right now. Beautiful, actually, but within the next 36 hours, it could look completely different. This is where the two officers that were wounded in that New Bern shootout were taken. The New Bern police chief tells me that one of the officers has left the hospital. The other is still in care here at Vidant. And resort, that's in Atlantic Beach. And as you can see, the damage is pretty extensive. You can see a tree has been torn by the winds. Also back in there, that's a car underneath the rubble. You can see it's snowing right now, but it wasn't like this earlier in the night. It was a mixture of freezing rain and sleet with a little bit of tag away and some elbow grease. The graffiti comes right off. Let's take a look at that lifeguard stand over there. Moments before the 6 o'clock show, there was a yellow flag hanging from it. Suspect used a rock from the railroad tracks, which is about 40 feet away from the store.
And throwing down the salt you have at your home will work at the same speed and effectiveness as the rock salt that DOT uses.
Plus, authorities arrest several people in connection with a meth lab bust. We were the only ones on scene. Good morning, Eastern Carolina. It's Sunday, March 16th. Thanks so much for waking up with us. I'm Juliana Valencia. First look at your forecast. How's it looking outside this morning, Jonathan?
Good morning, Juliana.
Man's accused in a deadly case of road rage. Police say the suspect rammed the victim's car and then pinned her between the vehicles when she got out to check the damage. We now know the name of a pilot killed in a plane crash in Halifax County Friday morning. According to co-workers, TripAdvisor recently released the top 10 states for the best barbecue, and North Carolina gets the #2 spot. Dallas is taking action to lessen some of the waves of children spilling across the southern border. ABC's Michelle Franzen reports on that effort. Arrest a bank robber armed with a knife and a walker. Investigators say this surveillance video shows 78-year-old Russell Cooper at the bank in Boynton Beach, Florida. About a Georgia father charged with murder after leaving his toddler in a hot car. This is as he calls in from jail to his son's funeral. A young mother jumps from a burning apartment building with her toddler in her arms. She says her injuries are so severe she may never be able to walk again. We now know the name of a local Marine who died during a semi-annual physical fitness test Friday morning. It happened at Camp Johnson, and base officials say it appears Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Reed died from what appears to be a massive heart attack. News Channel 12's Katie Harris has the story. The man accused of raping, kidnapping, and stabbing his ex-girlfriend, then driving away with the couple's 2-year-old daughter, is back in Pitt County this morning. We'll be right back with a final look at your forecast. Firefighters tell me it's a hard sight to see, losing what they call their second home. This building is all about fire, usually about putting them out. But now these trucks that have helped fight so many fires won't be going out on another call. It's a fire that hits close to home, but it doesn't stop these men from doing what they're trained to do, fight fires, as others stand by looking at what's left of the North River Fire Station.
Never hurt me. You know, this is a day that I will never forget.
Ernest Davis is the only firefighter still fighting since the station first opened its doors about 30 years ago.
Looking at it now, it hurt me so bad, hell. I just don't believe that something like that happened, you know. But that'll show you anything can happen.
He says there's a real sense of family here.
This was my home.
Firefighters from different departments sticking together to help each other, putting out the last flickering embers.
You know, fellow firefighter to another, it's just sad.
Alice Gaskill is a firefighter at South River, Merrimont. She says her team came over to help as quickly as they could.
They would have come to us. They would have been there for us.
With this station down, she says it'll be tough for the community.
You know, they have a lot more calls than we have.
As firefighters finish up, others cool off on this hot summer day. For Davis, things may be upsetting now, but at the same time, he says he's not too worried about the future of his second home.
We'll get back. It might take a little while longer, but we'll get there.
To restoring their building so they can get back to helping keep Carteret County safe.
I knew the minute I walked into Alex's room that I wasn't bringing him home. That's what I felt right at the very beginning. And I didn't. He didn't come home.
It's a moment Stacy Thalman can still feel. a moment she'll never forget.
This cross, this is the cross that my son was wearing the night he got killed.
March 28th, the night her son, New Bern police officer Alexander Thalman, was fatally shot.
I lost my only son. I lost my only child. A child I spent 7 years trying to adopt, find.
A son who Stacy says always found the fun in life.
Everybody who knew him will tell you he had a great sense of humor. He had an understanding. He had a special way of looking at the world.
People who, in turn, grew to love him during his 7 months on the New Bern police force.
When we were doing the funeral procession through New Bern, I was astonished at how many people turned out and the support that the community gave them, gave Alex. I want them to remember that.
Remember that officers like Thalman serve and sacrifice every day. Remember a man who loved his job. And remember a son who is still loved and missed every single day.
He was a wonderful son. He is a wonderful son.
It's a day full of cleaning for these folks.
Hello, go find you a hole.
At this trash site in Carteret County.
I'm only letting so many back there at a time.
They're lining up to unload piles of debris left by Hurricane Arthur.
Disaster. It was all over the place. Limbs dying. This is like the first load. We've got like 2 more loads coming.
And the reason we weren't open yesterday because we didn't have no electricity here to the dump. That's why the dump was closed.
Johnny Driver and his son Ray are unloading storm debris they picked up from their neighborhood.
Everybody's kind of lending hands, cleaning out garbage, tree debris, stuff like that. Neighbors help with neighbors.
Across the way, another father and son throw away a storm door that used to protect the front of their home.
I guess it was just a little loose, and when the hurricane came, the winds just ripped it right off.
These residents are just a few of many that find themselves with piles of debris in their yards.
It's kind of sad that tree's over 100 years old, and I hate to see it go. It survived a double strike of lightning before.
The storm snapped it in half. However, David McNeil's historic home, dating back to the 1850s, came out intact.
It was lucky. I mean, that's why you get through life with pure dumb luck.
He says it goes with his lifelong motto, why me?
While Hurricane Arthur's damage was minimal, it did lead to a lot of residents having to spend their weekend cleaning up debris, and it also changed the plans for some visiting tourists.
We knew about the storm, we just didn't know how bad it was going to be.
Lori Morrow and her son spent the week camping at the beach.
We thought we might be able to, ride it out and stay at the campground.
But when strong wind gusts started moving ashore, they chose to ride out the storm from a hotel room.
After sleeping in a tent, it felt great.
As Arthur has moved up north, it's back to calm waters here on our coast.